All right, guys, welcome to Monday Night Live. I'm Laura Hopkins. I'm so stoked to have you here tonight because I have two special guests. My friend Talia Scott and Wendy Selvig are going to join us tonight to talk about the clinical trials and scientific information that we see coming out from Young Living. Both of these ladies are, well, they're brilliant. I mean, I don't have any dumb friends, but they're both brilliant people. And we have been collaborating on a new project called That Oil Show. And they are going to be doing the science segment on that show. And you're going to love it. We've already put together many shows. We have them in ready to go. And you guys are going to love watching That Oil Show every Tuesday, the first Tuesday of the month. And the first one's coming September 6, 2022. We'll talk about it a little bit more later. But I want to take a minute for Talia and Wendy to just kind of, first of all, introduce themselves and tell you how they got started on, the Young Living journey. And then we're going to dive deep into these clinical studies. Because first of all, we want to know what makes you an expert and what makes you somebody who just loves science and learning about it. So take it away, Talia.
Okay. Well, thank you. First, thanks for having me. I don't think I'm ever going to get over the excitement of people thinking I'm smarter than they are and like asking me to come in. And I'm not any smarter than anybody else. But I do love the science. My background is medicine, and I just have always kind of been a little bit of a nerd. And I remember when we first kind of got started with oils, there was this moment where me and my husband were both sitting on our couches, like with our glasses on and our computers. And I looked over and I was like, we're nerds, right? And he was like, yeah. So I just love this. I love learning. I love taking my experience and just sharing it with my team and with other people. And just making that accessible and easy for people. That's kind of my passion. So yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Wendy.
Yeah, my name is Wendy Selvig. And again, and I feel the same way. I like to teach my team how to research on their own. That's kind of why we're here, because we aren't any smarter than anybody else. But Talia and I are both greens on the personality. So we were laughing at for That Oil Show. By doing the science segment, we're cracking up over the driest jokes, and we're like, because our brain, that's just our brains. And we're like, does anyone else gonna think this is funny? Because we were cracking some jokes, on the show, and they're really sometimes really dry and corny, and we're just like, oh, our science brains think that's so hilarious, but like nobody's laughing. Anyway,
I have faith someone will laugh at us.
You're in the studio, though. When people watch it, they're going to enjoy it.
That's true. Sure. It's true. Yeah. But yeah, you do wonder. But anyway, my background, I've worked for a nonprofit organization for 20 years as a natural health researcher. So I've been a paid natural health researcher. And the funny thing is, I don't do much different for that job that I do, just for my team. So that's going to be the big aha moment, is paid researchers don't get paid, don't do that much different than what you can do yourself. And, but in that 20 years, I kept discovering essential oils in the research, kept seeing that essential oils would show up, frankincense, there'd be like a thing on frankincense. I saw one time, a thing about frankincense and how they had reversed some, major skin issues, major scary diagnosis issues, and with frankincense oil. And I was like, what is this? What are these oils? And so, I was introduced to the oils through Sarah Johnson, and but I didn't even know what to do with them. But I knew I was interested because I knew I saw the research, and then started having my own experiences with them. So I decided to go get certified as aromatherapist because I'm the geek and I need to know all the good and the bad and the ugly, and I just learned that there was just mostly good. When I was doing that research, I did find out that, about 95% of all the oils out there come from the same handful of distilleries around the world. and they just put their private label on bottles and bottle it up and sell it. But it's the perfume industry, and that almost every one of those vats are made out of aluminum. And so every oil out there besides Young Living, as far as I know, and one other company that's a tiny little company that has like 20 oils max, all those companies are getting their oils and they're polluted and they have aluminum in them. They're going to make you sick. So I tell people as an aromatherapist, if you don't know that your oils came from a surgical stainless steel vat, don't even use oils. Just don't use them, you know? So that's my background.
Thank you. That is awesome. So I want to dive into this because you guys have so much knowledge that you can share. And I would just love to hear a little bit more about, we just saw Young Living come out with these clinical trials with more research that they've been doing, and for years, they weren't able to really talk about these types of things. And I got excited reading through some of these, and I love the science. I love learning and expanding my brain around it. I don't get as excited maybe as you guys do, but I love the fact that we can back up our products. I love the fact that we have the information about our oils and it's right there. It's readily available because, a lot of people can hide behind things like proprietary. But whenever we look at it and GCMS, the way that we test, the way that we actually all of our oils go through so many tests, it's a much more complicated and complex topic when people say, well, tell me why Young Living is the best, than just, a one sentence answer like you kind of started to describe. So would you guys like to maybe talk a little bit about the clinical trials that kind of caught your eye the most this year, or what are the things that you're most excited about that you've seen that came out from Young Living?
Well, I'll say that first of all, I think it's amazing that we have a research department that's doing this in the first place. It's not common for companies to have their own laboratories and their own research departments. I don't know that there's none others out there, but it's definitely not a common thing. And for us to have these facilities and have to be invested back into the future of our company and our oils, it is a really cool. It's a really cool. It just shows, and I'm going to use the word progressive, but I feel like that word has been hijacked by some other entities out there. So I don't want to use it in a negative way, but it's very forward thinking. It's future thinking. It just shows that we're here to stay. The longevity of our company is good and it's bright, and we are constantly looking for how to do things better and how to improve on what we already have. I just think that is an amazing place to be, regardless of how many studies we have and how many products we have and all that. Just the opportunity that our company has in this research field is just not something you see every day. So I think we need to not think that every single other company out there is doing these same things. They're not doing that. And so we are special because of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm sorry, my microphone was wigging out. Am I on? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So I don't know if you guys, how many people were at convention a couple years ago, right before COVID, but when they had all the scientists come out on the stage and they all had lab coats on, there were 80 scientists out there on the stage. And that was such a visual for me to realize, oh my word, like, look at how big our research team is. Look how big the scientists are. These guys are doing major things. And that's why we saw we saw seeds and plants go up on the space shuttle from Young Living. Like, that's why they just put out, there's a slide, Laura, I don't know if you have it, the Scientific Publications 2019 to 2022.
I'll pull it up.
They just showed this at convention, and this is like, these are the publications that our scientists, the research that we have published, which it's phenomenal that we have articles that are getting published with our scientists' names and the name of Young Living. If you go in to each one of these and look at it, often Young Living is actually mentioned that they were involved in the study or they paid for the study, but it's just really, it's really cool. But these are independent labs that are doing this research and publishing actual clinical research, which is very expensive to do. And that's why most companies aren't doing it, because it is very expensive. But it establishes us with real scientists, with real research, and that's so cool that our company's doing that.
Excellent. Thank you. I'm pulling that up. Sorry, I'm having a little technical difficulty getting that on, but I can get that for you. So where do you guys want to start? Who wants to dive in first on this information?
I'm going to let Wendy start with, she had looked up a few things. I'm going to let her start and then I'll kind of have a different little tweak at the end.
Yeah. So we kind of, just for the sake of time, so the slide that Laura has, whether it goes up here or goes up somewhere else later, that has a list of all the research. And so there's some really cool different things in there. What you can do is whatever title of a research study you're interested in, you literally can go type that into Google, the name of the title, and you will find the document. You'll find the research. And so if there's one on there, I don't know what there is, 30 on there. If there's one on there you're really interested in, go do that. I was going to talk about one of the studies that was done. There it is. So see how, so all of these, so the top one on the left, the need for sleep and relaxation, that was a study, Dr. Mike Book, and they published this, so you can literally go in and type the need for sleep and relaxation and R.M. Book and J.A. von Fraunhofer, and you can type that in and you'll find that document. So there's one on the third row that I pulled up, and it is the one aromatic profiles of trunk, limb, and leaf essential oils of Juniperus scapulorum. I can never say them right either. I don't know, but it's the juniper. It's our juniper oil. And let me just pull it up here on my own screen so I can read some of it to you. Oh, sorry. Hold on a second. So while I was out, the reason I was a few minutes late, I had to pick up my son from football, and my other son was in here closing tabs on my computer. I had it all pulled up. It's here. Hold on. This one? All right. Well, I'll come back to that one. But so the other one that I do have pulled up, I was going to talk about, is the randomized controlled trial. It says aromatherapy blend of thyme, orange, clove bud, and frankincense, which those are the oils in longevity. All right. So they did a clinical trial on longevity. And do you want to, Laura, do you want to give it to me for a second so I can show it to them? Or do you want me to post the link in here? I can post the link in the chat, and then you could pull it up so they could read it.
Yeah, that's fine. You can go ahead and do it. I'm going to also allow you to share your screen. Just ask to share and you can do that. So
okay.
Make you a host. So there you go. You want to share it?
Okay. I'm looking. Sorry. All right. Can you see, does it say aromatherapy blend of thyme?
Yes.
Okay.
It does.
All right. So, so when you look up, here's the thing, that when I first started looking up research and stuff, it's really easy to look at this and go, I don't understand anything that they're saying. Like, this does not mean anything to me. It's too sciencey. It's too much information. So always, whenever you are looking at some kind of controlled trial, research, anything on PubMed, the best thing to do is obviously read the title and then look for where it says results. Like, That's the most important, because you got to ask the right questions. And the right question is, how does this affect me? And how is this going to affect my family? Does this affect me at all? Because if it doesn't, then I don't want to read all the other stuff. The background, yes, that's important. The method, it is important if you really want to know the process, but the results are the most important thing. And so here, individuals who inhaled essential oil blend for 2 weeks had significantly lower fatigue scores after controlling for baseline scores, employment status, BMI, olfactory function, and time since diagnosis, with a large effect size. Still, it's already losing people, right? So you go to the last sentence of the results usually. This study provides evidence that a proprietary aromatherapy blend can significantly improve energy levels among women who are experiencing fatigue after recovering from COVID-19. So don't get lost in all of the mumbo jumbo. Don't get, caught up in that first paragraph that doesn't even tell you what it did. Go straight to the results. And then if you have to, go straight to the last sentence. And it's that same way with every study you do. But this is really exciting. This was our team. This is Young Living. These are our scientists, and they published this. And it's showing how longevity really helped people after COVID, like recover from COVID. That's a big deal. And we can share that, right, Laura? Can we share that?
Yes.
It's without worrying about the FDA.
Young Living shared it.
That's true. They did. So it's clinical trial stuff. So, and so just as a little side note, because since I'm right here in PubMed, we were going to talk about, I don't know how much you guys do research and how much you look for things, but if I were, let's say I had, some kind of thing I was wanting to know about. And so can you see what I'm typing in? I don't know.
Yes,
if you can.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm just curious. I'm not being a doctor or anything like that here. I'm just curious. I'm wanting to research, and I want to know if there's any essential oils that might support my body systems. So, and I'm not sure what's going to come up, but usually there's a lot of things that come up, and you can start doing, this is how you do your research. So you start like looking and seeing, here we've got clove, and we've got, here's a whole study on the topic, and it'll probably list a few different oils. So this is how you can help yourself. If you have a body system or a major diagnosis or something that's a challenge, and you're wanting to find something, they have most likely done the research. That's one of the things that I kept running across when I first introduced to oils, and I kept seeing that there was research in here. I was like, okay, so they know that, for example, frankincense, they know that it will really support your skin system. Okay, if you have a strange spot on your skin and you're going to put frankincense on it, they know that it will get rid of it, but they can't, the pharmaceutical industry cannot sell that. So they have to take those molecules, they have to take them apart. And so imagine this I like to say, like, there's a little saw in frankincense that just cuts up those kind of cells. But it's surrounded by molecules in nature that protect it. So you can take that frankincense and it's protected. It won't cut up anything else except for the cells that it's supposed to cut up. But the pharmaceutical companies take that molecule and they take it all apart, and then they take the saw out because they want to kill the things, right? But they don't have now, because they rebuild a drug around it, but they don't put back the things that would protect it from cutting everything else up in your body. So now you have this franken thing that's a medicine that has all these side effects that make you sick, that that you're going to use that, but that's the way that they can make a profit, and that's the only way they can do it. So I'm like reading this, and all these lights are coming on. This is like 15 years ago. I'm like, whoa, well, why don't we just use the oil, the one that worked in the first place? And, but you don't know that unless you're deep in looking at all their studies and trying to find that information, you realize, wow, they already know that it does this, but they've got to try to build a drug now off of it. But here in my mind, I'm thinking, let's just use a natural, let's just use the one that the studies showed actually fixed the problem. So
exactly. Good stuff. So PubMed, we've been talking about PubMed for years now, you guys. A lot of you know about it. I first heard about it from Dr. Tom Reed. And so I remember him saying, go out and look for things. This was 15 years ago. Go out and look, go look out on PubMed and see what you can find. He was astonished when his wife brought essential oils home. And he's like, don't you think, he said he was actually a little condescending to her. Don't you think if oils worked, I would have heard about them, being a physician for all these years. And he went out to PubMed and he started seeing the effectiveness of essential oils that were scientifically proven. So I also love when we talk about oils, but also we've talked about Ningxia Red. They've done some clinical trials on Ningxia Red as well. So that's also exciting. I think a lot of us do have our own experiences with it. Let's talk about Ningxia Red clinical trials. Oh, you're muted, babe.
That's so y'all didn't hear me slurping.
Would you like
That's
me
so
to
y'all
pull
didn't
it
hear
up?
me slurping on my drink. I actually have it open if you want to
Share your screen?
actually have it
Okay,
open if you want me to share. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. Can y'all see it?
It's coming up. There it is.
Okay. So this is our Young Living study on Ningxia Red. And I actually just for the first time got to actually read through this afternoon. This is actually one of the easiest studies I've ever read. So Young Living, whoever these scientists were, you can see their names right here. They did a really great job of making this very accessible for whoever to read. And so just like Wendy was saying, this very first section called the abstract, sometimes will give a little bit of kind of over your head information, but usually there's a little chunk in here that kind of will tell you exactly what Wendy was saying, the results. Now, not every abstract is going to have a results section, so you may kind of have to read through the paragraph. I'll show you another one that that I was looking at earlier that doesn't have a results section, but it does kind of have the same set of information. But I think this was really cool. So if you read the results here, 155 participants were analyzed. Participants who consumed the antioxidant beverage saw improvements to overall health, which dramatically exceeded those of the control group. Just that right there tells you that this was a successful study. What I really like is as I read down into this study, which again is not necessary if you just want to, let's just read this last little line here. Those in the supplement group who reported illness, so these people during the 60 days of the study got sick at some point. So for those who were in the group that was taking the supplement, they had illnesses that lasted 1 to 2 days, while those in the control group. So anytime you have a control group, this is a group of people who are either taking a placebo, they think they're taking a supplement, but they're really not. They might take a sugar tablet or something that's, just it's nothing. Or they're not doing anything different, and they're going to compare that to the people who were doing something different. But those in the control group had illnesses lasting from 1 to 9 days. That is significant. A reduction in illness from 9 days to 2 days. For those of you people, that's kind of funny. For those of you who have jobs that you have to, full-time jobs, 40 hours a week, whose boss would much prefer you to be out for 2 days versus 9 days? Whose kids would who would rather your kids only be not feeling maybe a little under the wellness line for 1 to 2 days versus potentially a week and a half of school. That's a significant difference in your daily life. And these were people who made one change. All they did was take, and I don't know if they said it in here. They just talked about that they took Ningxia Red every day. I don't know that I'm sure at some point they said exactly how much they took. But I think just that one thing right there is a significant change. That is not including the other things that they reported at the end of the 60 days. Not every study that you're going to click on is going to give you full details. The people who do the studies have the option to keep those things hidden where you have to pay to access them. But usually this little top part with the results and the conclusion. So check out this conclusion. Length of illness was shorter and sleep duration improved in the supplement group compared to the control group. Who wants to sleep better and longer? Me. Daily consumption of the 60 mils. So there you go. So 2 ounces, 60 mils of the antioxidant drink, Ningxia Red, showed significant improvement after 60 days. And so if you go down, you can actually see, if you kind of go down, you can see, what did they have to do? How much did they have to, drink? And then you can even go down here and kind of see their specific results. So how many men, how many women? If you're super green, this might interest you. This to me is kind of interesting. How many people, men and women usually respond differently to things. So to me, it's kind of interesting that they actually had more women in this, not interesting, but it's an interesting fact that when they make the claim at the bottom, it'll say, women's sleep was improved, but it's because there was a disproportionate amount of women in the study. But if you read more in it, it'll say that the people were chose randomly. So they didn't get to, of the people who qualified, they basically had a computer generator say this one, and this one. And so it wasn't like they were going to put 50 men and 50 women and they would see, they weren't testing men versus women. But when you get down to the end, you can kind of see, I think it's really long. You don't have to read all this. But the actual ending of it, somewhere it says it, that it was mostly women who actually reported feeling better. So that the higher statistics were women who felt better. But to me, it's interesting that this because there was a lot more women in the study. So would it be the same if we had equal amount of men or women, or would it be the same if we had only men or only women? So when you're reading a study and people say something like, oh, well, only men, only women showed an increase in their energy or whatever, kind of look and see how many men were in the study. If no men were in the study, well, that will tell you why. That doesn't mean it's not good for men. It just means sometimes you have to pay attention to the details. And I agree with Wendy. How is this important? How does this affect me in my life is really the most important question. But be willing to, it's okay not to understand all the stuff in the middle to get the gist out of a study. Don't feel like if you don't understand all of it, that you can't read the beginning and the end and get the main points out of it.
Right.
There was another, let me see which, that was the, I just clicked close. That's not what I wanted to do. Okay, here's one. This is one that I had used a while back in something, and I thought it was not interesting, but it set up a little differently. This particular study is one, like I was telling you, you can't see the whole thing. Whoever did this study, they don't want to show the whole thing. They want you to pay for it. But if you read just this abstract, this is very telling. And so I'll just read this to you. So spore relation. Spore relation is spores that emanate from your body or from something, okay? So spore relation of 4 species of filamentous fungi. And look, you don't even need to know even what that is, okay? It doesn't matter. But I bet some of this stuff you might recognize if you kind of just don't put your mental block on that the words are too big. But think about this: penicillium expansum and rhizopus, I don't know how to say that second word, were suppressed by gaseous contact with citron. Citron is citrus, right? Citron, lavender, and thyme oils. So gaseous means in the air, right? So whatever these spores were, the gases or the vapors or the aromatherapy of these oils was these spores were suppressed by having oils in the air. That's a pretty big deal. So, and if you read a little further down, so this effect of the essential oils was not observed when they were applied as a solution. So this indicates that the vapors, that the aromatherapy is when the essential oils were in their active form. Now, what is this? So what does this tell me? Just from reading these couple little sentences, this tells me that maybe this is just my own, and actually I can finish sharing. That's really all I wanted to share. This is maybe just my own experience, but I have experienced a lot of people who kind of put diffusing in a lesser category than maybe applying oils, or maybe this big topic of to ingest or not to ingest. I'm not telling you what to do. You need to make decisions for yourself. I personally have no problem with ingesting essential oils. However, if you read that study, there is a huge advantage to vaporizing your essential oils. So I think sometimes we discredit the easy things, and we discredit the things that sound maybe too simple. And really, the science says that you're going to get just as much benefit if you put the oils in the diffuser as you are if you put them in your mouth. So don't discredit the things that maybe seem simple for things that maybe seem more hardcore. And I thought that was a really cool study that I came across. So I wanted to share that with y'all.
Thank you. Well, there's a reason why we get that diffuser with our everyday oils collection, right? Because there's it's important to have that. And there is a lot of, I know there's people on this call, there's someone making comments right now in the comment section about how she diffused essential oils for an issue they had at their home. I mean, especially when you think about respiratory. I mean, you're breathing. So for this study was about the respiratory system. So you're breathing it. So we want to make sure that you're being logical in the way that you apply it too. And so I appreciate you pointing that out. That was really excellent. Thank you, ladies, for kind of walking us through. It's not something we have to be afraid of. And like you said, if we don't know certain words, that's another reason why we have Google, that we can, okay, what is this? A lot of times I come across a botanical name and it seems a little daunting, and you just pop that in and it will pull up the common name of that plant as well. So it kind of breaks it down for you as well.
I found the juniper.
Oh, you go, Wendy, and then I'll go after you.
That's okay. Okay, so I did find the juniper. Let me share it real quick. This is really short. This is not a big thing, but so the juniper research paper that they've put out recently, which is March of last year, it was interesting to me. So this one, just at first sight, doesn't seem like it's about as much about the oil as it is about their method, and they're trying to learn, like, okay, which part of the juniper tree do we actually, will yield more oil and more constituents and different constituents. They want to know, does it all yield equally or not? And so this one, they were looking at the trunk, the limb, and the leaf. And then they were doing different batches of oil from, all those different things, and then analyzing and comparing how different the oils were. and that came from these different species. And I'm sure this will help them in the future. Like if they know of a specific constituent that they really need, and it's all in the leaf and hardly any in the trunk, now they know that they're going to be harvesting those leaves for us and for our oils, which, you know, if you think about just some random companies that don't spend money and don't think about these kind of things, it's just like, just harvest the juniper, just throw it all in the batch and do it all, and you get what you get, right? And that is not the way our company is. And I love this. So going down to the conclusion, because this was like 7 pages of all information about how different constituents came from different parts of that juniper. So this is where you ask yourself again now, okay, so how can I apply this to my life? How does this affect me? So when you look here and it has, okay, the results of this study also confirm previous studies showing, now it's got a bunch of big words that I don't know what it is at first glance. So cis thujopsin is one of these words, right? And you're like, I don't know what this means, right? So now you have to go look that up. So you go search, I highlight this, I copy into Google, and I go to like wiki, you know, what is cis thujopsin? And you find out that is, it's a sesquiterpene. Well, essential oils are made out of sesquiterpenes. And so this is one of the most primary constituents. And then sabanine is another one, right? So you write these down, these that you're not sure exactly what they are. And then you go find out, you go search and research these things. So sabanine is a terpene that's anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, antifungal, and antimicrobial. Another one in here that's listed is alpha pinene, and that one is anti-anxiety, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, antimicrobial. And so so that's what you do, is you don't get, you know, stuck on words you don't know what they are. You just go look those up. You take it a step further, go look those up, find out how they affect, you know, you, and why you would get excited about juniper oil.
Very good. Love it. And if the word sesquiterpene is not familiar to you, or monoterpene or phenylpropanoids, you can actually go to the 7 Oily Days Vimeo channel. And she just pulled up her book. If you want to in your screen sharing, you can show that one from Dr. Stewart.
But Talia is going to tell you about this. Hold on, let me stop the share so you can go over to Talia. There you go.
Okay, so what I was going to say a minute ago was, I see now somebody said in the comments that there was a whole Dr. Edward Close has done a lot of research on diffusion, and from my medical background, you know, one of the ways that we in hospitals and in emergency fields, one of the ways that we get medications the quickest into our body when we don't have IV access is we will put oils straight down into your lungs, because your bloodstream passes right through your lungs to pick up oxygen, and so it'll pick up things along the way in your lungs. And so when we're, you know, in an emergency situation, we'll just put that stuff right down into your lungs and your bloodstream will pick it up. So the fastest way into your bloodstream is through your lungs, through breathing things in. So there is a definite science to be able to diffusing in your house all day long. Diffusing, breathing oils in. Don't overlook the things that sometimes seem the simplest. So I just wanted to say that, just to kind of to plug that. But also, I will say, I don't know a lot of you on this call. I am 100% sure that if you're in Laura's downline, that you have heard about Nutrition 101. When I first joined Young Living, I actually came to Young Living through a homeschool convention where I found Nutrition 101. And I'm going to tell you, if you do not know how your body works, if you don't know the very basics of the structure of your body and the way that it was designed to work, oils can seem hard because you don't know how your body works all together as one beautiful system. That book, I cannot sing its praises enough because it is one of the simplest books I have ever read in teaching people how to understand their body. There's enough information for you to get it, but there's not so much as you will leave being confused. And so if you don't have that book, I urge you to get it. It will make a night and day difference in you understanding how oils work in your body and how your body works just on its own, and how oils complement and work well with the systems of your body. So you're welcome. Listen, sometimes I give it to people in my team. I'm just like, you need this here.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it's not even a book. It's really not that much about oils. It's food but your body, but it makes sense whenever we do talk about oils in it. But thank you for sharing that, because, some people want to just, what oil do I take, or how can I deal with something, but they will neglect also the fact that nutrition plays a massive part in your overall health as well, and how your body's designed to work.
Yeah.
Your body's designed to work with plants, right? Oils are plants.
Yes.
They're just plant, right? We put it together. So thank you for sharing that.
You can't out supplement a bad diet. I've learned that. I learned that from Sarah and Deborah and everybody in between. All my, you guys, I'm pretty sure everybody in this team is at least somewhere under me or Wendy or Laura or Sarah, and everybody's under Sarah. We have the best upline. We have the most knowledgeable and best upline. Don't take that for granted. It's not everywhere. And use the resources that we have. Speaking of that, I know I have my screen grayed out or blurred out because I have a mess, but I want to talk about, is it blurry? There we go. The chemistry of essential oils, because people are freaked out about this book. They're like, this book like 700 pages or something. It's 848 pages of scary. And I want you, no, and that's what I'm saying. I want you to not think of that this way.
Yeah.
This book can be your best friend. When one of the things I do with my team when they are just getting started is, and they'll call me and they'll say, what oil do I use for fill in the blank? And I say, what oils do you have? And so they'll tell me, and I'll say, okay, well, what are we trying to work towards? And it was so funny that Wendy mentioned alpha pinene, because one of the things I looked up earlier was alpha pinene. And so I just picked frankincense because it was kind of like, comes in the starter kit. Everybody knows about frankincense. Well, if I can do a whole nother series and a whole nother thing on how to kind of use this book. But one of the things this book has in it is it breaks down each individual oil into what the oils are made of, the constituents, right? And so one of the main constituents in frankincense is alpha pinene. Well, what if you need frankincense for something and you don't have it? So what do? I hear this all the time. I don't have this oil, what can I use instead? And this book is your best friend on how to take an oil, take a piece of information that you don't have, and use it, and then figure out what to supplement that, or what to exchange it for. And so they have pages in here on just what oils have alpha pinene. What are the top oils that are highest in some of these constituents? And so, of course, I lost the page that I wanted to show y'all. But I will, let's see. Oh, here it is. Well, I'll just use this particular. Oh, shoot, I lost my page. Hold on one moment, please. I'm going to find the page I want, because
you're good. And while you're looking for it, I was just going to say,
okay,
we did do that book as a books spotlight one time, and we talked about how to use it, but I think we need to invite you back to do it some another time. And I don't know, maybe, I don't know if we can even do it on that oil show, but maybe that would be a good segment, is like how to use this book to like just show people. I think that, I don't know if we're able to do that. So Sarah Johnson is listening. So I think that would be great, because we have so many resources available to us to talk about when we talk about constituents. But that book, you guys, it looks intimidating. It might feel intimidating, but it's thick. But it's Dr. Stewart, God bless him, who's gone on to heaven now. He did a phenomenal job of teaching science and teaching about chemistry. And so I just would encourage everybody, if you have that book, to pull it off the shelf. I know somebody who just read it like a novel, and she would just go through, because there's some stories in there. It's really broken down and organized very thoughtfully. And then at the end, I like to look at the quantum physics section, even when he talks about beyond the oils. So there's some fun stories in there that I think that if you crack it open and just kind of start slowly working your way through it, it would really be enlightening for a lot of you guys. So, okay. Oh, and Keely McCary said, if Dr. Stewart's book is too intimidating for those who are not green, Michelle Truman's Chemistry of Essential Oils Made Even Simpler is a great synopsis.
Yes.
It's very thin. It is. It's a smaller book. It's much simpler. It has lots of pictures, and it's a good introduction. And if you get through that book, then you can take it and go expounding more. So did you find it, Talia?
Okay, I didn't, but I'm just going to use a different example, because
Okay.
you'll get the point when I make my example. Okay. So we hear about, a lot of times people will say things like, well, what kind of oil do I need for XYZ? And someone will say, well, something that's high in sesquiterpenes. We talked about that earlier too. That's a big word, right? And sometimes people will say, well, okay, well, what oils are high in sesquiterpenes? Well, there's a page. So page 572, I don't know if you probably can't see it, but it's just a list of oils. And it has the top 101, I'm sorry, the top 101 oils that have sesquiterpenes, and they're listed in percentage. So for reference, cedar wood is the highest oil, the highest percentage of sesquiterpenes. Okay. So if you don't have cedar wood, what's next? Well, the next thing would be patchouli. And then the next thing after that would be sandalwood. And then the next thing after that, believe it or not, is ginger. I didn't know that. So if you don't have cedarwood, patchouli, and sandalwood, but you bought ginger one time because you were going to make something in your recipe, you can use ginger for some of the same benefits as you can use cedarwood. And so understanding the top 2 or 3 things that each oil has in it, the top 2 or 3 kind of, I would say, ingredients, they're called constituents, but think about them as ingredients in your oils, is helpful to understand how they're made, how they're made up. So that way, if you don't have something, you can find an easy replacement for something else. And look, it may not smell as good in a recipe, but sometimes the smell is not what we're after. We're needing something for our health. And you know what? If I need something, I'm going to use the thing that I need. I'm not going to necessarily use the thing that smells good. #digest. So I actually like the smell of that now. But so I just want to kind of encourage you not to be afraid of this book. Don't feel like you have to read it cover to cover. It's a good resource, like all my little tabs of things that I found helpful. I've not personally read this book cover to cover, but there's a ton of helpful stuff in here, and it's very, very easy to understand and read, easy to find stuff. So I just kind of want to encourage you to don't be afraid of the science.
Yes.
Don't be afraid of the science.
Amen. Don't be afraid. Embrace it. Embrace the science. I love it. I love it. This is so good. So, this has been we normally only go 30 minutes. You see how much fun we're having?
Oh.
Science is so much fun, but we've gone, I know, we are having a good time. So there's been, I think we've had questions and things have been answered over in the top, in the side. I also want to give just another plug and make sure that you guys know that these 2 ladies are featured on that oil show. That's every Tuesday, or the first Tuesday of every month. It's going to be dropping. And so there's the logo. So find us, find us on Instagram and Facebook. But it is a YouTube channel, and there will be a 30-ish minute show every month. And we're going to cover different topics. You're going to love it. We're going to get you guys involved. You're going to be educated, but you're also going to laugh. We have a good time, and you'll want to gather people in your home the first Tuesday of every month to be able to come together and hear Wendy and hear Talia, Sarah, Beverly, Amanda, Deanna, and myself. We're going to just be sharing with you all what we've learned. And then there's other special guests and some fun videos that we've done. You're going to really enjoy it. And I think that it's going to help our community, our oily community, right now, to just kind of get re-energized and remember our foundation and our roots, and have some fun. We want to have some fun, right?
And the science segment is 5 minutes or less.
That's right.
And funny, right? Yeah.
That's right. It's a 30-minute show total, and little segments built in there. So get your people together. You're going to want to see Wendy and Talia every month, giving little tidbits, and then follow us along on social media, so you'll see the other education we're going to do throughout. So we appreciate you guys joining us tonight. Was there anything we didn't get to talk about you wanted to mention?
No.
Okay. They're very green. They're like, I went through my list. So I appreciate you guys so much for joining us. Everyone who's on tonight, this replay will be available on 7 Oily Days Vimeo channel. So thank you so much for joining us, and we appreciate everybody. And I want to say thank you to Sarah Johnson, who is our producer for That Oil Show, and put it all together and is making it possible for all of you guys. So I think she's still on, and just want to tell her thank you, because you're going to really enjoy it. And Wendy, Talia,
Thank you.
as usual, brilliant job, ladies.
Thank you guys.
Thanks. Good night.